Hello?
Hello, hello? Okay, we're good.
Sweet.
Hi, everybody. I'm Hojo from Taiwan.
I'm DJ Hotpot. Um, I guess I live in Korea for now.
Thanks for VISLA for having me on.
Yeah, shout out to VISLA.
I guess we wanted to talk a little bit about Taipei scene and
Yeah,
the underground music over there.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I guess I'm here to provide some perspectives from Seoul.
Yeah, James came to Taiwan earlier this year and wrote a couple articles about it, so I thought
Oh,
he'd be
yeah.
good to invite and have someone to talk to rather than
Yeah,
just me talking to no one.
for sure. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess I'm a freelance journalist besides a DJ, so I wrote a piece on Taiwan's club scene for DJ Mag. Um, yeah, I took some photos for that. It was a pretty wild ride. Also, got to DJ a little bit at
Mhm.
Final, which is a treat.
Yeah, we had an event with Cece in Park Baham
Yeah,
in
Pakno.
Final.
Yeah,
Final is one of the main underground clubs in Taipei.
yeah, yeah.
What are some of your, I guess, observations about the club scene in
Yeah, I mean, for me,
Taipei?
it was like um, I'd been to Taiwan before, but never really done the club stuff. I was more into indie rock, that kind of stuff before I went there this year. So yeah, I guess from my impression, it's a lot smaller than Seoul, but at the same time, there's still a lot of good stuff, and I think maybe the quality is still pretty high,
Mhm.
especially like when I went to Final for the first time, and this was before they did the, I guess, renovations, but like the sound system was incredible. I don't think there's a space of the same size and of the same like curational quality, I guess, or diversity um, here in Seoul like that.
Yeah, the clubs in Taipei have a pay particular attention to the sound systems,
Yeah,
even in the small spaces we have. So Final, of course, is underground club that tends to fit maybe hard techno and alternative avant-garde experimental club sounds.
I also heard they all do a bunch of not necessarily out there, but out there for that kind of venue, like Mando Pop Nights or like Pop
Yeah,
Nights,
there's some queer nights and Mando pop nights and American pop nights and even like
Mahjong Party.
mahjong parties and sing-along parties. There's a band from Taipei called Sunset Roller Coaster that's pretty famous. I know they played Korea a couple times, but they've done their after parties at Final. There's another club called Pawn Shop,
Oh yeah, yeah.
which
I didn't make it last time, so
Pawn Shop
unfortunate.
is a pretty like solid techno venue. Also great sound, multi-room, always getting high-profile guests from all over the world. Um, and yeah, there's some smaller venues too that are coming up, like Gray Area.
Oh yeah, also
Gray
heard about that one.
Gray Area has some great sound. DJ Air Bear just played there
Oh
like
word. Yeah.
2 weeks ago,
Nice.
um, and he was really impressed with the sound there too. So that was good. Good to hear from a man as particular as Air Bear.
Yeah.
And then we have some smaller spaces like 23 Music Room, which is
Yeah.
kind of like a training ground for young artists and DJs and promoters to kind of get their feet wet in the scene.
Yeah. You do a lot of booking for them, right?
Yeah, I work with them and do some of their booking management and curation. I just kind of make sure the trains run on time for them.
Yeah. I guess maybe you could introduce yourself too as well to the audience.
Sure. So my name's Hojo. I'm a DJ, event organizer, manager based in Taipei. I grew up in the States, but I've been living in Taipei for 6.5 years now,
Wow.
and have been able to work with people in the scene to kind of organize more events and hopefully bring a higher profile to the Taipei scene from a global sense.
Yeah.
So sometimes I do interviews with global outlets like Resident Advisor or DJ Mag or something like that. And then often I'm just traveling a lot to Seoul or Tokyo or America or wherever I need to go for work, and then always bringing up people in the scene. And yeah, I just think Taiwan has a really uh, has a wealth of talent, and I don't even think uh, it's inevitable that the world will be paying more attention to Taiwan in the next
Yeah.
couple years or so.
It's one thing I noticed was really funny is how like comparatively small it is just geographically.
Sure.
I remember you saying like, oh, 23 music rooms really far from the city center, and it's like a half hour to 20-minute subway ride or something.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Taipei, if you've never been, is a uh, very compact, like geographically. You can get across the city by a car in like 30, 40 minutes. It's not very it's not very far from everything. But you know, everything's relative, so people inside Taipei always say, "Oh, the north side of Taipei is so far from the south side." But it's if you've lived in, say, New York or Seoul, it's not that far.
Yeah. There's.
And consequently, because it's so small, actually, relatively, you actually have a lot of close-knit kind of relationships between musicians and artists. So we talked about how James was there for the rock scene primarily when he was going there, but actually most of the people in the electronic music scene have also come out of the rock scene, because rock is definitely the number one type of music that young people in Taiwan listen to and pay to go to concerts for. We have some nice DJs and electronic artists, but our bands are way bigger. Sunset Roller Coaster again. They just played Coachella.
Right.
I don't know when a Taiwan electronic artist will play Coachella. It's not clear yet. But but they all know each other. Sunset Roller Coaster comes to the clubs, and we go to the shows, and they do remixes and mixing for each other, and it's very close knit. Like you can get to know people pretty quickly in Taiwan if you spend some time in the scene.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was searching for here when I first got here, actually. And I think there's some people who do it.
Mhm.
For example, like Park Daham with
Mhm.
Helicopter Records, doing both band and DJing stuff. Um, yeah, but the intersections are definitely. I feel like the different circles in Seoul maybe aren't as interconnected as they are in Taipei, maybe.
Yeah, and I think that makes sense to me, because even in cities as big as Tokyo or New York or something, it's pretty much the same. You don't get a lot of, you get some, but not a lot of daily intermingling. Where in Taiwan, it does seem like almost weekly.
Yeah. And what I thought was interesting about Taiwan too is, I mean, I think Seoul or Korea is very notorious for being concentrated on Seoul, and maybe it's the same for Taiwan. But I hear things about like things in Taichung or in Kaohsiung that are like, yeah, pretty like people regularly go to Taichung, at least I've heard, for like random stuff.
Sure. So
Accurate?
so Taipei is the biggest city. It's on the north side of Taiwan. It has about, I think, if you count New Taipei, it has about 6.5 million people, kind of in that area. And we have a smattering of cities on the west coast, like Taichung, Kaohsiung, Tainan, that are pretty big cities, like, you know, one or some close to 2 million people. And there's a lot of good art and a lot of good artists who come out of those spaces. But I think most of them, if they get any sort of success, they will come up to Taipei to move, and because Taipei, you have a better chance of A, making money for your art, and B, attracting a bigger audience. But as far as like people going down a lot to like go check out things, there's like some bubbling up facilities for things in Taichung and Tainan.
For example?
There's a new spot called Dao,
Oh,
Taichung.
yeah.
That's a very small space, very very humble space, but they're really pushing to do some cool things there, and we appreciate that. There was a space called The Cave but the cave shut down during COVID. But the people who ran the cave have been very successful with their own DIY events and their brand. So yeah, it's a good like pressure cooker, I would say, of talent in the south part of Taiwan, and some interesting things. And it's it's slower paced. It's kind of like you could compare it to like the Guangzhou Busan kind of thing. Like there's just slower paced and there's cool things happening. But if they get any sort of leverage, they usually come up to Taipei.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like um, for for my from my point of view, I feel like there feels to be more mobility between cities in Taiwan. I feel like people who come to Seoul, they'll just like stay in Seoul and they won't want to go like anywhere else, maybe. Or and people also, I don't know, I feel like maybe I'm talking complete nonsense, but like yeah, just yeah. Anyways, who are some of the people that or new like promoters or artists that are coming up that you're really excited about in Taiwan?
I think this year there's a producer named Ben, Benn, and his label Over My Body is doing a lot of cool things. They're just announced a China tour and a couple more releases this year, and they've been really taking advantage of the borders opening this year and having a lot of interesting collaborations with foreign artists, as well as bringing up local Taiwan artists and getting recognition for it. So that's cool. There's a really young label called World Synth Records, run by two artists, one named Sun Jenga and one named Betelnut Kangaroo, and their focus is mostly on ambient synth-based music, mostly from Taiwan artists. One of the brothers of Mongtong. Mongtong is a psych band that's been doing well. They have a European tour coming up later this year, I believe. But one of the brothers in that contributes to World Synth Records albums. And yeah, there's a lot of big plans, just I think, for a lot of these collectives and artists coming through, which is cool.
Yeah, and you've been talking about also bringing more people from Korea, right? You've been doing something international and.
Yeah, so like I said before, we brought James and Park Daham and Cece for a party, an Ekno party, and that was fun. And then we also had a party with The International, who run the clothing line International. So that featured DJs Yetsubi and Vision. And we had a multiple day pop-up where they sold clothing, and they collaborated with a Taiwanese fashion designer named, his company's named 4 Dimension, in one of his shirts here. So
oh, nice.
It's a cool shirt.
I was wondering what that was.
Yeah. So they collaborated, made some shirts together, did a pop-up together. It was really successful. The after party went off like crazy.
Yeah, those videos are crazy.
Yeah, International sold out of a lot of their stuff, especially all their women's stuff. They regret bringing not enough women's clothing. I think they've learned their lesson and will bring more. But yeah, it was a success, like I think across the board for them, and it was cool because though there's a couple stores that would carry their gear in Taiwan before, I think now they're have a much more prominent profile in Taiwan, which is kind of the goal, and hopefully we can collaborate again and have a version of that here in Seoul with many of the Taiwan crew coming over and kind of facilitating exchange and having people travel between East Asian countries and kind of bring up each other's profiles and things. Like, it's cool to bring in European and American artists and all that, but it's also really cool to have this tighter network of East Asian countries, I think.
Yeah. What would you say the Taiwan equivalent of the International would be?
At least from a design standpoint, I would say 4D. Just like because their affiliation with dance and rave culture.
Right.
The designer Kevin, he is a DJ as well.
Oh, okay.
Um,
What's his DJ name?
Kevin.
Kevin. Classic.
Yeah. So he does that, and he's just like he was just very familiar with their gear, and
Yeah.
they were familiar with his stuff. He does a lot of like tech wear stuff too, cool bags, and like I think he made a pipe, not a pipe, an incense burner. He made an incense burner for the pop up that was very popular.
Nice.
So, but there's like actually a lot of cool fashion houses and young designers making cool stuff in Taipei as well. Very
Connected to the
influenced,
scene.
very influenced. Yes, very connected to the music scene. There's brands like Namesake that do a lot of like sports influenced wear, a lot of like remixed jersey type things, and they do parties all the time. There's a brand called Plateau, which is very, I feel like, Japan influenced, Japan like streetwear, skatewear influenced, and they did a party with Miyachi, the rapper, in Final as well. So there's a lot of synergy between fashion and music, which I think goes for most places in
Yeah.
East Asia. I know Seoul has that, and Japan, of course, too. So there's
Yeah.
like a very familiar kind of ease to do these kind of things, no matter where you're from in other countries, I think.
You feel like people are getting more because when I'm in Taiwan, it feels like almost everyone's more interested in going to Japan than Korea. But do you feel like it's with more exchange, there's more interest in?
I
Like,
hope so.
doing
I
that?
hope so. I mean, I don't shade on people wanting to go to Japan.
Yeah.
It's like a very popular place to go.
Yeah.
Not just for Taiwanese people, for it seems like a lot of tourists right now. But I think there should be a regular kind of. I don't think it should be so special to go to either Tokyo or Korea for anybody from Taiwan, and I don't think it should be so special for people from Korea to come to Taiwan or Japan. I think it should be
It's like natural.
yeah, pretty normal. Just
Yeah.
like it's natural for a DJ in Paris to go to Barcelona,
Right.
or it's natural for a London DJ to go to Berlin for a gig. It's not like, oh, I'm going to Berlin. This is crazy. They just get their Ryanair ticket and they go and they come back, and it's pretty chill. They can
Yeah.
do it once a month if they want to. Of course, we don't have flights or anything as cheap as some of the transit options in Europe, but what I'm hoping to do by doing these events is proof concepting that you can make enough money to support this, even with the logistics that we have to do. Because I think there's enough interest in the scene, at least in Taiwan, and hopefully in Seoul and Tokyo and Osaka and other places, to continue to do this more regularly.
Are there any other, I guess, cities or scenes you're interested in, like bringing people to or bringing people from in Asia or Southeast Asia? 'Cause-
I mean, there's so many that are coming up and like really building up. Ho Chi Minh City is like popping off like crazy.
yeah.
But they're definitely on the young side of things. Like they're like still trying to figure it out, like as far as like logistically, but as far as energy and talent and motivation, they're right up there with any other city in Asia.
Yeah, I feel like everyone I know is like saying, "Oh, I'm going to Vietnam to play Arcan."
Yeah,
Or
they're
I see
really
on the
they've been
story.
really aggressive with the booking, which is cool.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I think if I was a young person in Vietnam, in Ho Chi Minh City, and I was interested in electronic music, this would be like one of the best times of my life right now. Even like Indonesia, like Bali, Jakarta, like there's some cool stuff happening there. I really loved that boiler room that Manila did, like recently with
Oh, yeah.
the budots
Yeah.
kind of stuff. There's just stuff happening all over the place, but you have to consider like, as far as like appreciating and going there and like collaborating with people versus like building it into the network of collaboration where everybody could make some money and also exchange art.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure yet if, and this comes from some experience of having booked shows in Southeast Asia with these collectives and stuff who are great, but they are working with very limited budgets because they're building. they're building still. And so I wouldn't put any pressure on them to host like 5 DJs
For
and
sure.
try to get this party to get X amount of dollars, right? That's just not something I think is in the conversation yet with a lot of these places.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, speaking of Boiler Room, there was that Boiler Room this past weekend, but I guess we could talk about that. But also, the CC played the last Boiler Room here, and it was a controversial one, at least online. But everyone in person loved it. And you know, she was playing that like bong chat, techno trot stuff.
I loved it too. I mean, I love very like I guess some would call it taxi music.
Yeah, I mean, Taiwan has its own.
Every country has its own kind
Yeah.
of version of it. Taiwan has taika manyao, and it's like very much like kind of bongchat music, where it's just like abrasive and classic and like very. The dances are goofy, and attention grabbing, and like you get a sense of. It doesn't even matter how fast the BPM is. Actually, you just get a sense of speed from it, which is cool. What was the controversy? Was it just like people just like ragging on it online?
Yeah, I mean, like techno purists or like
Sure.
Boiler Room snobs, like this isn't Fredican.
I think it'd be hard to be a techno purist watching Boiler Room in 2023 because they've kind of gone far away from the Deck Mantel kind of over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Which I'm very happy about.
Yeah. Yeah. So I hadn't seen the Budots thing, so that's pretty cool that they did.
Yeah, that was really cool. They even got like the class, like it wasn't just young kids playing Budots. It was like they got like DJ Love, who's like the guy who did that stuff in the beginning to like do that. I was thinking like, oh, we should just do a Taika Boiler Room in Taiwan and get like DJ Jerry to play it. I mean, that would be crazy. DJ Jerry is like, he's used to be a pop star, and then he got really into Dutch hardcore, and then he just started making like the hardest like Taiwan techno, I guess, where it's a lot of swearing and talking about using drugs over repetitive beats. Maybe we'll play some in a bit.
Yeah, you should play some.
Yeah, I'll play some today, I think.
Yeah, I guess he's
He's still at it.
Taiwan's Ibaxa or something.
Yeah. He's just he's still at it too. He has his club and he plays at festivals and stuff, and people love him.
What have you been your favorite like parties or just events you've seen or thrown in Taiwan in recent memory?
I mean, the international party was a highlight just because, you know, it was pretty small. Like the team, it was like 4 of us who like kind of put it together on the Taiwan side, and it went off really well. And everybody just had a great time with that, and I think that kind of like pushed a lot of things in the right direction. Some other cool parties that happened or I've been to. They all kind of blur together sometimes. There's a lot of stuff in Taiwan. There's stuff that happens pretty much every week, so it's pretty nice.
Is it just the weekend, or are there also weekday things? Because I feel like
I would say there's some like Thursday stuff sometimes, Wednesday, Thursday stuff sometimes, and
it's so hard to get people to come out to stuff on Thursday.
Yeah, it can happen in Taiwan. We've had a lot of holidays in the last few months. Like we had Dragon Boat Festival, and Dragon Boat you get like a whole week off.
Nice.
And spring cleaning, spring sweeping, tomb sweeping, that you get a lot of time. And so when we have that, you have a lot of like Monday parties or Sunday parties that pop off because everybody does not work the next day.
Yeah. I mean, what is there? Yeah, what are you playing today?
I'm gonna mix some stuff between like a lot of Taiwanese friends, a lot of Japanese friends, some new stuff, some breaks, some techno. Probably not go as hard as I did during. I played the international party, the Rave Age 6-year anniversary.
At Modeshi?
Yeah, at Modeshi.
Oh,
And it was really fun. It was really, really great. But they asked me to go really hard. They're like, please hardcore. And I was like, okay, I can do it. Yeah. So I will not go as hard today. But maybe throw a couple curveballs in there.
Nice.
Cool. Yeah.
That's
So
it.
yeah, I
cool.
think that's cool. Yeah, my name's Hojo. I'm online at the Real Hojo on Instagram and other places. I'm sure they'll post the links or something on VISLA. Shout outs to VISLA for having me,
Yeah.
and shout outs
to
to James
Vista.
for waking up and getting out here. And
Of course, yeah. Might go back to sleep. It's a terrible day in terms of weather.
oh yeah, it's gross out here. But Taipei is also 38 degrees Celsius right now, so I'm
Oh,
very happy to be in Seoul.
Yeah,
Actually,
people are like, "Is it hot for you?" And you're like, "Nah."
I'm like, no, it's nice. It's very nice.
Yeah. Hope you enjoy the cool weather while you can.
I will. Cool.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
crazy voice. I got the 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 crazy voice. Come on, girls, let's rock that. Crazy voice, this will make you move. 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 Come on, girls, let's rock that.
是虽然这么说，但其实只是想催眠自己，强迫放下爱你这件事情。从没表白过，但是现在关系比以前要好太多。进入 UFO， 我依然把我的记忆全部都修改过。放弃你，测验时间到我开始上一次。爱情使我去冰冷像是毒品药剂，尽管我很爱你，但是我不想抱你。谁来守护我的心？那些长得帅的人，人生都有可惜。就算你也喜欢我，我会非常开心，但是我却不能答应。我希望你，但你可不可以不要喜欢我？太多屁事情，所以我尽量从容地说，因为我真的很穷，因为我和你的level不同，在一起会不快乐，所以我只好跟你说快乐，但是我还是会深爱着，现在从此让你快乐比较重要。拜托你别真的爱上我，我的眼睛变得太甜，眼睛一直看 iPhone。在这之前，记得这首我们一起放松。Treat me like a loser， 当我深爱着，靠近比你证明我的爱不是骗人。给着我的手，如果你有办法牵动，给着泪跟我一起最悲伤的心痛。暧昧你竟然避开，I'm so sorry别离开，没人阻止你不爱我 ，maybe baby it's love。我们期待，牵着我的笑容看，为什么这么不爱？所以我尽量从容地说，因为我真的很穷，因为我和你的level不同，在一起不快乐，所以我只好跟你说快乐，但是我还是会深爱着，现在从还是让你快乐比较重要。不会希望我两个一定要直接把我车子超级多，好吧，我也不想多说。反正只是一个错误，是他是一个渣男，一直消失找找答案，我也不想要你的爱，只想放弃我起来祈祷。
I just want you to focus, pull me in, pull me closer, give me that diagnosis, blow my mind like explosions. Just one touch leaves me helpless, on repeat like it's endless. Bet she's turned to a white dress, looks so good, damn you did this, yeah. I just want you to focus on my love, just focus on my. I just want you to focus on my love, just focus on my. I just want you to focus on my love, just focus on my. Just focus on my love, yeah. I just want you to focus on my love, just focus on my. I just want you to focus on my love, just focus on my. I just want you to focus on my love, just focus on my. Just focus on my love, yeah. 100% of your attention, 100%, so I'm in heaven. 100% of your attention, keep watching my eyes, want you to realize. I just want you to focus, better keep your composure like you tryna earn that diploma. Do it over and over, yeah, make it pop Coca-Cola. Keep it hot Barcelona, bet she's turned to a white dress. Looks so good when I'm naked, yeah. I just want you to focus on my love, just focus on my. I just want you to focus on my love, just focus on my. I just want you to focus on my love, just focus on my. Just focus on my love, yeah. I just want you to focus on my love, just focus on my. I just want you to focus on my love, just focus on my. I just want you to focus on my love, just focus on my. Just focus on my love, yeah. 100% of your attention, 100%, so I'm in heaven. I just want you to focus on my love, just focus on my. I just want you to focus on my love, just focus. I just want you to focus on my love, just focus. just want you to focus on my love. Just focus on my. I just want you to focus on my love. Just focus on my. I just want you to focus on my love. Just focus on my. Just focus on my love.